Today we're making a dish called Kousa Mahshi, which literally means stuffed kousa. You really should try to get these Middle Eastern courgettes. The sort of European long green ones are a little bit too big and they're too watery. So you want to take off the top of each one. You don't need these anymore, so that can be discarded. And you're going to need a corer, something that you would core an apple with, for instance. Or as my mom uses one of these. She's actually got 20 in her drawer, I just saw. These are going to now be cored. You can use the stuffing to make courgette, which is an egg-based fritter. So you don't have to waste anything, which is what I do. You just mix eggs with a bit of flour, some spices and herbs, and just fry them in a pan. I like to use a knife to get these out. It just helps it much easier rather than breaking through. It comes out in one piece. And then continue doing it with the rest until you've cored all of them. You also want to make sure you don't hollow right down to the end, because once they start cooking they'll soften up and then they might just burst in the oven. So I don't know if you can see this, but it's gone up to about here, and you want to keep the walls slightly thick again so it doesn't break up in the cooking process. And that's it. This is the part that everyone thinks takes so long to make, and you just see it's taken me a few seconds on each one. And it's okay if they crack a little bit. You're cooking at home, it's not fine dining, so it happens all the time. I'm just going to move this to the side. Now the stuffing is with meat and rice. This is just lightly spiced with cinnamon and nutmeg, salt and pepper, just to create a little bit of flavor while it's cooking, which goes into the tomato sauce, and it's delicious. We have another dish called Coursa Mahshi, which is this dish with no rice, and it's actually made back in the day for people who had lots of money. They didn't have to substitute things and add grains to their meat to sort of fill them up. And this one's sort of like the poor man's version, but it's better. I'm using Egyptian rice always when we cook anything that we stuff. It just makes everything a little bit more sticky and delicious. A little bit of olive oil, salt and pepper. This just helps combine everything and easier to put the meat and rice mixture into the courgette. And the salt. Better to season everything now rather than later, because you sort of have no option after to fix this. And now we're just going to mix this together and begin stuffing. Your meat mixture should be more than the rice. That's how I've been taught by my mum. It just makes it a little bit nicer to eat and looks better. This is also now time to stuff. You just take a tiny bit, start dropping it in really, really gently. Don't force it in. It just slips down, especially if you put oil in it. And then tap it, and then it goes in on its own. But if you press it down, you'll take out too much of the space and it will seal everything. The water and the tomato stock doesn't go through and cook the rice. So you'll have a cooked courgette, cooked meat, and raw rice. And then you just put it in a pan and do the rest. Easy and delicious. Be gentle, trust me, don't try and cheat by pushing it in. You want to leave a little bit at the top because rice swells, so this will literally cook and become right to the edge. Right. And next, we're going to put the tomato sauce, water, and leave it to bubble away. On a medium heat, you don't want it to start just bouncing around everywhere because it will just break up and all the stuffing will just explode out of it. So we've now put all the courgettes into the pot. I'm going to just turn the heat on, and we're going to put the tomato sauce that I've mixed with some water to create a stock. This will cook down for about 30 to 35 minutes, and the sauce will become thicker because of the rice and the starch in it, which is what you want to happen. So fill them up right up until you just cover a tiny bit left of them to be seen, like a little bit, and shut the lid. Add a bit more salt to season the stock. And leave it on the side for 35 minutes and then come back to it. So the kousa has been cooking for about 35 minutes. I've just switched the heat off and we're going to serve it. You literally just take the little courgettes out, put them in to your serving bowl, My mum usually sieves the sauce. I don't. It's a dispute that we've been having forever. I like it with all the bits in. And you can choose to do what you prefer. And the meat is perfectly cooked, so is the rice. And you have this delicious tomato stock that is flavored with all the spices and the meat. And then we just pour this over the top. So I like to eat this with Greek yogurt on the side. I like to mix it in with the tomato sauce. And there's your dinner ready.